Democrats have characterized state laws adopting photo ID like Georgia, which really liberalized just about everything about its voting system except to require consistent use of voter ID recently. And Democrats have characterized that as Jim Crow 2.0. And you just heard the chairman a moment ago attempt to draw an equivalence between the old beans in a jar, guess how many there are, as a means of depriving blacks of the right to vote in Jim Crow, as the same thing as voter ID. Right. What do you make of that?
Again, I don't understand the logic. And, you know, a lot of folks are saying that this is not just about voter ID. Let's go ahead and cut down the brass tacks. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's about voter ID because we understand that voter ID is that first line of defense in maintaining election integrity. It's the same way if someone came in here and said, hey, let's get rid of ID requirement by firearms. Boy, this place would go crazy because we know that'd be ridiculous. So it's about that. It's about the voter ID laws. But that notion that this is somehow Jim Crow, you know, I think some folks need a history lesson about what happened during Jim Crow. During Jim Crow, it wasn't just a poll tax. It wasn't just a jar of beans. Guess how many jars of beans in it? You stepped outside the line during Jim Crow, you'd find yourself swinging from a tree, or buried somewhere behind somebody's barn, or all cut up, or burned out of your house. Requiring an ID to vote is just simple American responsibility. In our state, I call it common sense legislation for the common good. Keeps us all honest. And to say that somehow poor people, black people, can't be involved in that responsibility, again, is insulting. It's insulting. And so I completely agree with you that it's not the same thing. Not even close. Not even on the same scale. It's not even in the same arena.
Lieutenant Governor Robinson, in North Carolina in 2018, the voters of North Carolina amended our state constitution by a fairly overwhelming vote to require photo ID. And since that time, an enabling law passed by the General Assembly, which goes well beyond what you said you would consider to be valid ID, includes student IDs.
Absolutely.
It even has been amended to include the ID if someone holds that they receive public assistance, are all allowed.
Absolutely.
But judges have delayed the effectiveness of that law on grounds that it is racist. What do you say to that, sir?
I'd say to that it's a perfect example of what's going on here today. We have a few elitists who believe that they know better than the people of the state of North Carolina. A few people, 2 or 3 judges that said, I know that 55, 60% of the people of North Carolina said they want voter ID, but I don't think so, and I'm a king, and I know better than you, so I'm going to strike that law down. That's the same thing we see going on in this chamber right now. That's the same thing we see with H.R. 1. Folks hit high, look low, say, I know better than you. I know your state better than you. I know your people better than you. I'm going to make the decisions for you. Again, not going to happen. Not going to happen. That old saying, not going to happen, Captain, it's alive and well in North Carolina. It's not going to happen.
Lieutenant Governor Robinson, Reverend Barber says in North Carolina has been a continuous since 2010. The worst voter suppression campaign laws have been passed and implemented. Sir, how did you become the first black lieutenant governor elected in this past election if the people of North Carolina, through their elected representatives, are working to suppress voters of African American?
It's not about voter suppression. I'm going to tell you what my campaign was about. My campaign was about suppressing the lies from the left. That's what it was about. And when I told people of North Carolina the truth, they heard it and they came running and they pushed my name. And not just white people, but all people that believe in our message. And again, I'm going to reiterate this statement one more time. What is going on in this right now is all about this right here and the power grab that it ensues.
Thanks, sir. Yield back.